That's right. It's the morning show right here on KVVB TV, channel 33, Facebook Live, Periscope TV, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live. Great to have you with us this morning. A lot of big news and including some cool guests coming up around the corner. But first, as always, let's introduce Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
So I understand you had a good weekend. You had a weekend like the majority of us would like. Tell us, did you have fun this weekend?
If fun is curled up in bed all day, yes, I had great time.
Okay, so there you go. That was you know what that's fun for some. I mean that'd be a fun for me. Okay, on today's show we're going to be talking a lot about a couple of variety of different topics. One of which is going to be on PBS very own. Yes, it's happening tonight. It's a two-part series from Frontline. It's entitled America's Great Divide from Obama to Trump. So we're going to have the producer and director of this, Michael Kirk's going to be joining us. Of course, Frontline tackles some of the biggest topics over there, so we'll be looking forward to that around the corner. Also coming up just in minutes, we're going to have all the way from Robert Half and Associates over there. Robert Half, we're going to actually have a guest talking about, well, look, let's face it. Employment is one which people are looking for. Some may be looking for a change. So we got some tips and big top, kind of like it's like kind of like being with, what's his name? Did you see the trailer for Top Gun yet, Jesse?
Yes, I did. It looked
Okay,
kind of
so
cool.
yeah, Maverick kind of comes in, trains the like rookies, right? And you're thinking, ooh, what's this going to be about? I just saw the trailer, so I'm excited for it again. So I can't wait to see that. And speaking of movies, by the way, did you see? That's right. We're going to talk about this around the corner. Oscar nominations are in. That's right. So this is the part that I always have fun talking about, like predicting who's going to win, who should win. Are you upset at the nominees? Did you see these movies? Did you not see these movies? So we'll talk about all of that and more right after these messages. All you have to do is stay right there. Watch our ads, go ahead and support our ads. And of course, we'll be right back right after this with ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. We'll be right back.
Gotta cry to keep from laughing. My eyes are playing tricks on me, 'cause I never thought I'd see you here again. Are you for real or are you acting? Claiming that I'm the best you had, and you wanna go right back to being more than friends. Sorry, I must have missed the punchline. You had the spotlight in my life, but baby, now you're out of time. Ain't it funny how it all comes back around? Comes back around. And ain't it funny how you can't tell up from down? Tell up from down. Said yourself I am not what you're looking for. Don't know what you expect, love ain't here no more. Oh no. If this is a joke, oh, ain't it funny? Ain't it funny? Ain't it funny? Ain't it funny? You must be suffering from amnesia, 'cause I don't know how you could forget the way you just up and left me standing all alone. I'm searching deep for one good reason to entertain you, saturate. You say you wanna stay, but I think you should go. I'm waiting patient for the plot twist, but baby, comedy is not your thing, so maybe you should quit.
All right, we are on our commercial break. Great to have you with us on today's show. Let's see, just around the corner. We'll actually be, maybe you have a question when it comes to employment, although the discussion we're going to have is kind of an interesting one. So I can't wait to introduce that topic. Have you ever thought about office etiquette, Jesse? I mean, you've got like, you're a team of one over there. Like,
Unfortunately, yeah. 40 seconds.
Yeah, there's what do you think
I'd
about
yell at
visible tattoos, casual attire, using foul language, bringing pets? I just want to know
ah
about body odor. What? We all think it. Okay.
20 seconds.
All right.
But yeah, I'm the only one here, so
I know. Kind of nice though, right? Kind of like you're like. I mean, you don't have to worry about like if you make anybody upset, it's you. Like, you can't make anybody else.
exactly. 2
You can't.
seconds.
Although you're pretty easygoing. I can't see you get really upset. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, Periscope TV, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live. Yes, it's great to have you with us. On today's show, we're going to be talking about PBS' latest show. It's, of course, the long-running series Frontline. The title of this is America's Great Divide from Obama to Trump. It actually premieres tonight and also ends tomorrow. So documentary and filmmaker Michael Kirk, who's produced more than 200, get that, 200 national television programs, will be joining us here on the morning show around the corner talking about this latest show. So we'll be talking about that. Also, around the corner, Robert Half, great team over there doing all the great stuff. We're going to actually be having Kim Garstein, who is not only the branch manager, but also a job expert. So she's coming up around the corner with some questions I know many of you have had in the past. So we're going to get it answered right here on the show. But first, we got, of course, Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
Okay, so Jesse, nominations are in for the Oscars, by the way. I'm just wondering, is Pikachu on the list for these nominees? Did you see that, Pikachu? Did you see the great Detective Pikachu?
I saw it in theater.
Yeah, great film, by the way. I say go see it with the family if you haven't, or rent it online. But here it is. So here's some of the nominations. We won't have time to go into all of these because we are expecting our caller just around the corner. But the nominees for Best Picture are these, and I still got to see this. I almost saw it yesterday, but I promised my future brother-in-law, I said, hey, let's go watch Star Wars because he hasn't seen Star Wars, so we went to see that. But I really wanted to see this movie, Ford versus Ferrari, still out at theaters. I'm glad it got a nomination, so maybe I might have a chance to see it on the big screen. The Irishman, which is oddly enough on the little screen, right, on Netflix. Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Ooh, I haven't even heard of Parasite. Have you, Jesse?
No, I have not heard of that movie at all.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think 1917. Although I think it just come out? It just came out this week.
Yeah, that just came out.
Yeah, it just came out, which is one of those like movies where you're like, wait, how did they work that? Like, because he said, oh, this is going to be great for the movie because it's better than like local advertising. It's just nominated. Already did really good over there in Golden Globe land. Will it be enough for the Oscars? I don't know. I'm waiting to see. The nominees for Best Actor are actually. Let's go to the nominees for Best. Because we'll get back to that. Here's my favorite category. The nominees for Best Animated Feature Film are How to Train a Dragon: The Hidden World. Pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. Toy Story 4. Yeah, it was all right. I Lost My Body. Wait, what? Klaus. Oh, also on Netflix. Actually, the animation on that's pretty interesting. And Missing Link. Missing Link took the Golden Globe, and rightly so. I mean, it takes forever to do any one of those like stop motion capture things, and the way they get it all defined, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the Oscars and what they do and what they're going to do. So if you want to make a prediction on social media, find us on Facebook at KVVB TV 33 and or KMET 1490 AM and or on Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you could find us. Just my name, Aaron Michael Sanchez. Let us know what you think. But it's time to turn our attention over to Robert Half. Yes, Robert Half's been really helping people out across the nation with jobs and helping out employers, helping out employees. And joining us right now is a branch manager and jobs expert from Robert Half, Kim Garstein. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. Look, I understand there's a lot to talk about, so I want to jump right to it. The job search trends for 2020, what's going on there? What are people looking for?
Most employees are looking for more money. I mean, the market continues to be really, really hot. And one of the surveys that we recently conducted stated that 43% of workers are going to be looking for work in the next 12 months, which I found to be a really high number and something that employers should be concerned about.
Wow. And then how are people now finding jobs? Because I understand, like, back in the day when I used to, like, actually look for a job, I would take out the classifieds on a newspaper, and then I would go through the list, and I would send in my resume if it said send in a resume, and I would either fax it in or I'd walk it in. What's the new, like, paradigm shift that we've had that's happened for quite some time, including a little service that we like to stream to called LinkedIn?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn is probably, I would say, the biggest social networking site for job seekers. You know, many employees also will look at using a professional recruiting firm to help them. But in terms of social networking, a lot of it is done via LinkedIn these days.
Is there any advice that you would give based on your research and what you've done, what people should do? Because I know you're always scouring. You've got your own recruiters scouring the online world and finding qualified candidates. Sometimes for employers which maybe are not actively looking, but there may be, like, it's called headhunting. It's a thing that recruiters do. Can you talk a little bit about what people should have or not have maybe on their own profile that will help them out?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're talking about a LinkedIn page, a very clear and concise LinkedIn page that would match your resume. If you were to send your resume over to that same employer, your resume should match what your LinkedIn page says. You should list your strengths. On LinkedIn, it is appropriate to post a picture. On a resume, it would not be appropriate to post a picture. A lot of times we'll also find candidates that do send in a resume to an employer will have a link back to their LinkedIn page, which is always nice. You can also reach out to former supervisors or coworkers to add recommendations for the work that you've done on your LinkedIn profile, and that definitely is helpful as employers are evaluating candidates that they might be bringing in for interviews.
Got it. Okay, so what about like using colorful fonts or like emojis? Is this a thing? Because I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I send out an email and I'm thinking I would normally send to my friend or relative a little happy face or a joking face because I kind of like wanted to tell a joke. But then I'm thinking this employer might or this potential candidate might not really get my joking preference. Is it a good idea or a bad idea to include these? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely a bad idea. That was one of the things that our survey revealed that, using cartoons and excessive color on application materials can be big turnoffs for employers. I would also say that, in terms of a resume, kind of simple is important. Sometimes people try to get a little bit too creative with those resumes, and they can actually be distracting for employers to look at. But yeah, definitely cartoons, emojis, that sort of thing. Definitely, I would recommend leaving those off a resume.
Now, I understand hiring managers they still like cover letters. What should be on a cover letter and what should not be? Because I've seen in my day of recruiting way back in the day, I saw a lot of cover letters that like lasted 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. And I was like, where's the resume on this thing?
Right. Yeah. Employers do like to see a cover letter, and cover letters, I would say, are particularly important if it's somebody who is perhaps doing a career change and you need to explain why you're moving from one industry to another. I think, a general cover letter can be, 3 to 4 paragraphs. It should definitely not be more than one page. And in that cover letter, really you're articulating why you're interested in this particular opportunity. Most senior managers do find that cover letters are very valuable to add some color to the resume. In fact, 58% of the senior managers that we surveyed said that it is really helpful to receive these documents.
Now I have a question. This is really for the younger generation that's starting to get up in years, called like 23, 24, 25. uh and there's been this whole shift of course, I they could create some could create a really good text message, but when it comes to like formatting a letter, I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes they need a little bit more help from us older folk, which is, in a 30, 45, 50 year range, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, the younger generation, they are used to communicating via text messages, via Instagram messages, via Snapchat messages. And, sometimes they use, grammar that is, abbreviations for things that you and I might not even know what they mean. Right.
Right.
But yeah, I think as you're articulating, if you are somebody from, the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z generation, really using professional and polished grammar and full sentences and that sort of thing, and not abbreviating, and really articulating again, what it is you're looking for, whether that be in a resume or a cover letter.
Yeah, look, as much as I'd like to think I know a lot about a little, I often don't. And when, like, maybe looking for a job, maybe there's somebody that's very qualified in the job skill set, but maybe they need some help, like, kind of massaging their cover letter, massaging their resume, and then more importantly, kind of getting that information translated to the potential future employer. How does Robert Half, and I'll call them associates because that's what each and every one of you are pretty much are. You help and kind of handhold the whole process on some of these job opportunities. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can definitely help candidates with, a cover letter or a resume. But really, when a candidate comes to a recruiting firm like Robert Half, we're the voice of that candidate, and we can help give them some inside information that they might not otherwise be able to gain on why a position is open or what that client is really looking for with regards to an interview process or making a hiring decision. So, all of those things are things that Robert Half can help with, or any professional recruiter. But it is nice to kind of have that inside scoop on what can help you get that job over another candidate.
Okay, Kim, I'm going to switch gears up just a bit. I know we're running out of time, but this one right here is very interesting to me, Kim. Office etiquette. Now you've got the job, you're working, maybe it's a temporary job, maybe you got placed there. What are some interesting statistics that you guys have seen over there that we should all be aware of?
Yeah, well, in one of the surveys that we recently did, 91% of managers say workplaces are less formal today than they were 10 years ago. And one of the reasons they found for this is, we employers are catering to the younger generation. This is the generation that's up and coming. And, this generation typically is not a generation that wants to wear suits to work. They don't want to wear ties. It is a more relaxed environment, particularly in LA. We see this. It's definitely more common to, see piercings and tattoos and that sort of thing. And, maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago, that would not be as common as it is today.
Right. Well, and I understand there's still some things we should kind of steer clear from, at least in that survey that you did. 88% of LA senior managers said organizations have more relaxed, but there were some statistics on still stuff that are unacceptable. Can you kind of give us the top three?
Yeah. So one of the things that we definitely uncovered was you know um, foul language in the workplace is still definitely a no-no. So 54% of our employers that we surveyed said that using foul language was not appropriate. Um, 51% of the respondents said bringing pets to the office was a no-no, and I was actually really surprised by that, because I will
Hmm.
tell you that there are a lot of employers in Los Angeles that boast that they're dog-friendly environments and you can bring your dog to work. So I was actually really surprised by that statistic.
Right. Right.
One of the other things, and I think this is appropriate to talk about, is not discussing political views, or touting who you wish would win for president. Those things should really still stay out of the workplace, and I think that that's important to talk about, especially in an election year.
So no stickers to put up, like, vote for you, like you're saying, kind of leave those kind of at home or on the bumper on your car. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I recommend that. I would not bring those into the office.
Yeah. I mean, look, every workplace is different. I say like make sure whoever's paying the bills there kind of go with what they say. Is that a pretty safe margin for error?
Um, Yes.
Yeah, me too. Because I mean, some like pets, and I mean, if I were an employer hiring somebody, I'd be like, you know what, go on and bring your ferret, but not the dog, because the dog barks when I'm on the air. The ferret's quiet and they're cute. Okay, well, look, I know we've run out of time. Again, for those that are looking maybe for a job, or maybe they're an employer and they need some temporary or permanent workers, where can they go, Kim?
Yeah, I would recommend you go to roberthalf.com. You can find out more about our organization there. We have multiple offices in the LA area, and we can both help those job seekers out there as well as employers who are having a tough time filling open positions.
All right, thank you very much, Kim. Kim Garstein, everybody, a very really cool expert over there at Robert Half. Again, they got a lot of experts that they hire. So thank you very much for spending time with us, Kim.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Okay, well, it's that time. We got to take another break. When we come back, we've got the top latest who got nominated in the Best Actor, Best Actress role. We'll find out that right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, so there we go. Appreciate everybody in social media land. For those just joining us, if you got a question that needs to be answered when it comes to employment, send them our way. In fact, you could type them in right now. We can send that over to Robert Half. They do these really cool surveys, and they kind of get like a good pulse on the barometer, which is more than what I could say for most agencies. Most agencies just kind of like, it's daily work at the job, like, get an employer request, get a candidate, fill it, done. And that's pretty much the end of most. But Robert Half goes the next step and says, okay, what are we doing? What do we need to, apprise ourselves of? I mean, the list that I got, very interesting. Check this out, Jesse. Things that are more acceptable than before. According to this, visible tattoos, 25%. Casual attire, 26%. Non-traditional hair colors, 34%, right? That's when you see like pink, fuchsia, green. Non-traditional piercings, 28%. Casual language or emojis in emails, 23%. That's once you get the job, not before you get the job. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. But back to unacceptable things. So top of the list was using foul language with 57% saying, yeah, let's kind of steer away from that. Again, I think it depends on the work environment that you're in and the amount of people that are there. The more you have, the more you're going to offend somebody. The smaller, like Jesse, for example, yeah, he can't use any foul language because then we get an FCC fine. So
okay, I did it once, okay.
Jesse, tough toenails twice, actually. And then Brenda followed suit with you, and I was like, oh, people.
I know. It was great when she did it, though.
It was. You're like, I don't feel so bad. I don't feel so alone.
Hey, I can hear you guys.
Oh, yeah, she's listening to us. Okay. Yeah, bringing pets, displaying political decor, and then here's one, streaming political events. Don't stream a political event at work, according to 44%. Listening to music without headphones. Oh, that's a big no-no. That's anywhere, right? I mean,
5 seconds. Yeah.
Even at the gym. How many more seconds?
Oh, 4 seconds.
I had a good story there. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, 33 Facebook Live, Periscope TV, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live. Very good information about LinkedIn, right? Again, a lot of networking being done. I know I get hit up all the time from people looking for work in broadcasting, and I'm like, sorry, we're not hiring. But at the same time, it's a great way to keep in like even when somebody gets a job, you can kind of congratulate them. It lets you know, and you're like, congratulations on that new job. And then you're like, oh, hey, can you get me a job? You're now the branch manager. So I always say keep your friends closer and your enemies just block them. There's no need to have them on your social media. No, but seriously, go ahead and that's a great way to say, congratulations. Hey, by the way, I'm looking for a job. Do you happen to know, if your organization is hiring? Could you look it up for me or something like that? I don't know, but there's a lot of ways to connect. And what I always do is make sure to populate your email list. And there's a really great way. I could give you a quick tip. Here it is. If you use Gmail, there's a setting that you have to find, and any person that you actually reply to that comes into your email, it'll automatically add that to your contact list. The great thing about that is once you add it to your contact list, as you start building this contact list, you never have to go and add it personally. Kind of like your phone, you know how you have to save. It does it for you automatically. And then you regularly import that into your LinkedIn account, and you import those names, and you find out who has a picture. I add those people, and then everybody without a picture, I figure they're just not that active, so there's no point in adding them. Plus, it goes against my numbers that I can add. So that's a quick tip for those of you looking maybe for networking opportunities or other type of things on LinkedIn that you might find really cool and really fun. All right. Switching gears now, we're going to switch back over to something we talked about right before we went over to Robert Half. And yes, if you're looking for a job, go to roberthalf.com. They got all different types of jobs: technical, office, accounting, I think law. They have a legal department, and much, much more. So go check that out, roberthalf.com. All right. So, Jesse, when we left off, I left off with the animation category because I figured it was kind of, a pretty quick one that I could get in there before the interview. But which category is your favorite to look for or watch?
Let's see. I would either I usually just go for best picture, best actor, actress, and best comedy and stuff like that. Usually stuff that I'm interested in.
Okay, I'm not going to cover any of those just yet because this one is a category I think you're going to be more interested in than in previous years. Here it is, Jesse. The nominees for Best Visual Effects. A couple of our movies are in here, by the way. So I can't wait to see your opinion on this. Jesse, here it is. Avengers Endgame, The Irishman, which, the Irishman had, I guess this technology. I haven't seen it, but they make him look younger. I think women want that everywhere, by the way. They just want to be FaceTime people and be like, I'm 20 years younger. Look at this. And then you see them in person, you're like, whoa. That's all of us, guys, too, by the way. I digress. The Lion King, pretty good. 1917 and Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Jesse, of those, which do you think should win?
Rise of Skywalker.
You know what? I agree with that. I am on that. Okay, so Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. That's Jesse's. I would be bummed if something took it away like The Irishman just for face technology. Seriously, that's it. That's all the cool effect you had. Okay, and so we got much more. But coming up around the corner, we got Frontline. Yes, Frontline from PBS. So we definitely want to take that. So we need to take a quick break, regroup here, and then come back with this very interesting, speaking of political, show on PBS. We're going to talk about that right around these messages. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. That's right. It's the morning show. We're on a commercial break here. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Got Josue Higuera tuning in. Mandy Lynn, thanks for joining us. Julien Delatier, D-E-L-A-T-T-R-E. How do you say that? Delatier? I feel like it's French. Julien Delatier, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna jump into that one.
Yeah, Delatry. Oh, or it could be Delatry, you know? Julien Delatry. Kind of like D'Artagnan, or I don't know. All right, whoop. There we go. Okay, so he says, best picture, Joker or Parasite. I really need to see what Parasite's about. Have you seen that, Jesse?
No, I have not. I heard of it. I know it's a South Korean film, but other than that, I don't really know too much about it.
Ooh, I kind of want to watch it now. Yeah, I have heard nothing about this. Oh, 91% like this movie. Metacritic's
30 seconds.
Wow, Rotten Tomatoes is 99%. Metacritic is 96%. IMDb is at 8.6 out of 10. Huh. Yeah, and it's in Korean, so you got to have the subtitles on. Which really isn't cool when you're trying to like double task. There's no double tasking with that. You got to be 100% committed.
10 seconds. Yeah, that's the only bad part.
Yeah. But
2
I don't
seconds.
know. I'm looking forward to it now. That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, 33, Facebook Live, Periscope TV, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live. Speaking of another really great network is PBS, which you can go download their app. I always recommend it. And you can watch it tonight. This is interesting. This is actually streaming on PBS and PBS, the app, and I believe on YouTube. We have with us right now, all the way from Frontline, we got Emmy Award winning Michael Kirk with us. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Good morning, Aaron. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. But Michael, I understand you have been busy at work putting this entire really big project together. It's entitled America's Great Divide from Obama to Trump. What has that task been like for you?
It's been more than 40 interviews with all the people who were close to Trump and to former President Obama. A 3-hour interview with Steve Bannon, for example. Long interviews with the people in close to President Trump. It's been both a nightmare, a tragedy, and fascinating to learn what we've learned over the last year as we put these 4 hours together.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We just had on another big firm called Robert Half, and we talked about employment and employers and in the job workplace. This is something that it's actually being discouraged to talk about because even in the workplace, it's so divisive right now, the nation, that people are getting kind of in fights. I understand you cover some pretty heated topics in this 4-hour series. Is that correct?
Yes, well, essentially what we did was we started with the promise of Barack Obama that he would unite America, that we are not red, we are not blue, we are the United States of America. And you're in behind closed doors for 6 or 8 really important moments that happened in his presidency that yield what in the end they finally are willing to admit to themselves and us. They've been out long enough now that they can say they think his presidency may have made the division even worse than it was when he started. He promised to be the uniter, but along the way, forces like Sarah Palin, forces like the Tea Party rise up. Unbelievable division becomes part of the deal. Obviously, racism rises up through the birtherism moment led by Donald Trump, who's standing in the wings waiting for division and crisis to enter our politics, because that's what he knows will be his path to power. So you watch it all happen, and you see how Obama feels just sort of heartbroken about it, and you see how Trump comes in and says, no, we don't want to all get along. We need division to run the democracy the right way. And as you watch the 4 hours, it's very eye-opening, especially if you believe that we're at the precipice right now in our politics as we face the presidential election in 2020.
Well, Michael, look, I understand this is a very difficult topic to handle, especially when you have to kind of be a little bit in the middle where you're like, as a journalist, you want to be as unbiased as possible. How difficult was that for you in putting this together, out of curiosity?
Yeah, I've been doing it a long, long time, Aaron, so 40 years, and I know that being in the press now makes me what the president calls an enemy of the people. I've tried very hard not to overreact to being called that. I obviously don't believe that that's what I am.
Right.
It's fascinating to sit in. I've made 20 films between Obama and Trump, so I've been inside Obamacare, the presidential elections, all of it, for long-form documentaries. In other words, not just quick-hit news things. So I really thought I understood it all. But this year, this working on this film has just really changed how I feel about what's happening in the country, what's happening with truth, what do we believe, what is fake news really, what happens with Facebook, what happens with Twitter, what did the Russians do, how has it sort of messed with us as a people, and on the central issues, from immigration to other race-related issues. What has happened there? It's been heartbreaking, actually, Aaron, to tell you the truth, to make it, because a country that I thought sort of existed but was just having a kind of political fight, you really realize it's much deeper than that and much uglier than that, and in some respects, much more dangerous than that. So it's not a case of am I trying to be blandly in the middle. It's a case of can I lay out the stories in a way that people who watch the film understand it and can react to it, both in the voting booth but interpersonally with their friends who disagree with them.
Well, look, it's a 4-hour series broken up into 2 parts. We're going to see that first part tonight, which is airing on PBS, the second part tomorrow night. I got a question, though, for you, because out of all the interviews that you've conducted, especially those that made this particular feature, is there anyone that stood out as one of which you said, wow, you walked away and said, that was more enlightening than I went going in? You know, because we all have one of those.
I wish I could say yes, although I must say I spent 3 hours with Steve Bannon, Trump's inside guy, for a long time, and I learned a lot more. I came to an understanding about the Trump philosophy, so that I understood that it wasn't just, I mean, I never really believed this, because you don't get all the way to president by just being, an idiot or a fool or whatever other people call him. But I wanted to understand how does he operate and what is the belief system behind what he was doing. So that was very revelatory to me, to spend all that time with somebody like Bannon, to understand the war between Fox News and Breitbart, the war on the right against the establishment Republican Party. That was fascinating. I had no idea, even covering it as I was, how deep that fight went and what a blood feud it really was. As one person calls it, the steel cage match of the Republican Party. That was totally fascinating to me. And of course, getting inside what was going on with Obama as it dawned on him that there was another America out there, and a profoundly angry America that could be tapped into and used to, in effect, neutralize an awful lot of the things he wanted to do as president. And to watch that, hear that happen through the voices of the people who it happened to, and realize that they've been out long enough now that they can understand that maybe what they did was create the ground that Donald Trump came in and seized, and he might not have been able to do it if it hadn't been for the Obama presidency. That was a shocking revelation to many of them, and certainly a shocking revelation to me.
Well, I want to say thank you for your time, Michael. I know you got other places to kind of spread the word. PBS tonight, it is on. Again, thank you for spending time with us, and I look forward to your next project coming up around the corner. We'll make sure to have you back, okay?
My pleasure, Aaron. Thank you.
Absolutely. There it is. Premiering tonight, both on PBS. Check your local listings. And I don't know if this is the first time they've done this, but they're streaming it as well online. Just get the PBS app and on YouTube. You can check it out, all the trailers and everything there. So pretty cool. Very interesting. Watch it. Look, I think a healthy conversation is good to have. But when there are fist throwing, like that's a whole other ball game. I don't like to be a part of personally. But there you go. Okay, so we got to take another break. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned with more right after this. All right, so there you go. Will you watch it? Will you check it out? Very interesting. I think it's good to have a discussion, with the young ones, especially when they're like, "What is going on?" Like, especially young ones growing up today, and they're seeing a lot of the stuff in the media, a lot of hate, a lot of like divisiveness. They kind of think, "Well, what's going on?" I always say, "Look to the future," but so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens around the corner. Who knows? Switching gears back, though, to something I've been wanting to talk about, which is the Oscars. Yes, I look forward to the Oscars each and everywhere, and I do like to watch the shows leading up to. I'll be honest, I've always wanted to cover and or attend the Oscars, but I've never had a chance, like the majority of us, right? I mean, I have had a chance. Have you ever attended or kind of, I don't want to say broke in, but kind of sidestepped the security guard and then snuck in one of these places, Jesse?
No, I haven't, but you know what? I'm willing to try.
We should go together. Okay, truth be told, I may not have kind of snuck into the after party at the SAG Awards. Just gonna throw that out there. The SAG Awards we covered one year. Boy, am I throwing myself under the bus. But look, it was fun. I mean, we got in. And then one of our associates that was with us, they went out to go get something from their car, came back, and the guard was like, "Can I see your wristband?" Because they have wristbands, right? And she or he, can't narrow down the choices there, said, "Oh, I don't have one," and then looked at me and like, "Oh well, I'm not gonna throw you under the bus." And me and the one joining me says, "Oh, we'll go with her. We were with her." So they're like, "Really? You're gonna?" Because the guard knew, there were a lot of people, by the way, that were there from the original event that kind of went in anyway. So yeah, they kind of knew, but then they had to call her out because they don't want to lose their job, right?
We got 10 seconds.
Not to mention it's a security risk, but yeah, we were hobnobbing with everybody. We're like, yeah, I mean, we're just press, but I've seen you on TV.
2 seconds.
I've seen you in a film. It was cool. I'm not gonna lie. Probably the one and only time I'll ever do that. Right, that's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KBT 1490 AM. TV audience over there at KVVB TV, 33 Facebook Live, Periscope TV, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live. How interesting was that, right? Frontline's very own PBS, starting tonight, ending tomorrow night. Again on PBS, very good, cool. Frontline actually tackles a lot of really important topics over there. So this one is not going to be the top of the chain. They got so many different ones out there. If you haven't watched it, I mean, you definitely should check it out. Just visit them at pbs.org/frontline. Follow them. They've got Twitter, they got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, Google Plus. They're on more than us. I don't think anybody told them Google Plus is kind of not a thing anymore. But there you go. So, but doing some pretty cool stuff over there. And Michael himself, my goodness, this man walks away with 16 Emmy Awards, 12 Writer Guild of America Awards. He's produced, directed, and written more than 100 hours of Frontline, which is the PBS flagship long-form documentary series. So if anybody knows how to put a film together of this magnitude, it is him. So we want to say thank you to him and the entire team over there at PBS. But switching gears back to the Oscars, which is what it is all about, at least for me. I don't know about you, Jesse. I'm excited by this. So you said in our last segment, which we talked about this, that you think Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker should win for best visual effects. Is that right?
Yeah, that's just my guess. I'm just a Star Wars nerd, but yeah, that's just my guess. Which one would be yours?
I think they should have a first, second, and third category. You know, kind of like Miss America. You know how they do the lead up, and they're like, "Well,
Yeah.
third in line." Why don't they do that? I think if they did that, more people would watch. Am I wrong? Am I right? Like the People's Choice
I,
Awards, I actually really enjoy the People's Choice Awards, or at least reading about it. I never really watch it. But, you know, you're like, this is of the people, for the people. And these are kind of like, oh, there's kind of a divide. I wouldn't have chosen that. But if you feel that the majority, I think they need like the Academy's picks and then the people's picks. What? That's what the People's Choice Awards is? Oh. But they have to have them like side by side. You know what I mean? Okay, so here we go. So we're conducting kind of our own informal one. Now, back to some of the ones that you really like, by the way, which are, let's see, I'm going through the list, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so here's one. The nominees for Best Supporting Actress. I'm trying to find the Best Supporting Actress. Just let's see, Supporting Actor. Okay, are Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, Laura Dern for Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh for Little Women, and Margot Robbie for Bombshell. Who do you think will win the Oscar, Jesse?
well, I can honestly say I've seen none of those movies, but
Oh,
I do actually want to see Jojo Rabbit. So
okay.
that's
So Jojo Rabbit's, but just out of because you want to watch. Okay, I'm so glad you're not on the Academy. Like, I don't think this would be like an informed decision here, Jesse. I'm just saying. But you know,
forced
uh,
to watch those movies. So if they make me watch it, I'll watch it.
well, that's the thing. That okay. So that's the cool thing about being anybody that knows an Academy member who gets to vote. You know that not only do they get these screeners like in their home, they can watch from the comfort of their home, which is why I think there's such a divide on some of these movies. Because I feel that you should at least be forced to pay it, and then be like, you know what, was that worth the price of admission? That's how I would rate my scale. I'm just saying. I judge cars, and I think I could judge movies. I'm just saying. You see, I'm trying to really get an invite to the Academy, but I'm not pulling any strings there. Okay, the nominees for Best Supporting Actor are, envelope please, Tom Hanks, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Oh, you know what? I still got to see that. I hear it's really good. I've heard of some people that saw it 2-3 times, so I'm like, to me, that looks boring, and I'm a Mr. Rogers fan. But I understand it's really good, so you might want to give it a hard watch. Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes. Anything Anthony Hopkins does, I mean, here's the thing. You got a man that does serial killer really good, and now, like, the opposite, like, I'm holier than thou, the Pope. You got to admit, like, not too many people can pull that off to either extreme, right, Jesse?
Yeah, that is kind of out there. He's a great actor.
Yeah, so I just think he should win hands down. He's my fan favorite forever. Like if I had like a bromance, I'd want to have a bromance with that dude. Which I understand. My cousin actually was like in the car with him, spent time with him, talking with him. She's like, he's a genius of a man. I'm like, yeah, I know. Can I like switch gears and kick you out? And you know, but she's a stunt. She did stunt car driving for him, so you know, and I can't do that. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. The Two Popes. Okay, Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which by the way, he already took the Golden Globe. Isn't enough to take the Oscars. I vote. I don't think so. I don't see him beating out Anthony Hopkins, number one, and or Tom Hanks, number two. But I could be wrong. Here's another one: Joe Pesci for The Irishman, and Al Pacino also for The Irishman. Of these, Jesse, who do you think should win?
Well, from the performances that I have seen, I'm gonna go with Joe Pesci.
Oh, really? Really? Okay. I like
Wasn't
Joe
a
just
fan of the Irishman, but I liked his performance.
well, and I'm glad he's back. I hope he does like more movies because he kind of disappeared for a while. People were like, "Where is he at?" And then he kind of came up out of nowhere for The Irishman. And you're like, "Oh, okay." And I could see why. I mean, like just sitting at that table when I saw them at the Golden Globes, I was like, "Wow, that's a table I would like to hear stories from." Right? So there you
Yeah.
go. And look, Al Pacino, which for those that haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he did a really good job in that as well. He's in both, so I'm sure he's kind of divided on that. But of course, he's like more pro Irishman because he was, more of a lead in that than more like a supporting in the other. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Now skipping back to the nominees for Best Actor are. And I'm still looking for Best Actress, but for some reason it's missing on this list. Kind of like the directors. Did you see that? No directors were female, by the way. That's the big news, which, that's how it's being spun right now. There's no women directors being nominated. I would like to see, though, a list of potential women directors and then be like, well, who did we have? Because I believe there's always more than not based on our interviews that we've had with a lot of women filmmakers. So, I mean, but I get it with the big powers that be, sometimes they choose a man over a woman. This is just a sad fact. And not to mention, already filmmakers that at least are directors, I think women make up 5%, if not less. So we need more women directors, is what I'm saying. It's kind of like a bunch of doctors, right? At one point, like there were more male doctors than female doctors, and females were like, "I want to be a doctor," and then doctors were like, "What? You're a female?" Yeah, I watched a documentary on that. So that was way back when, though. It's before your time, Jesse. Definitely before my time. But there you go. That was a thing. So I would like to see it. But, first of all, you got to have more women directors to begin with. So we need to even this out. Even out the playing field 50-50, be easy. Boom. Done. Nominations in. But I don't know how I feel about it because I don't know all the films. But here are the nominees for Best Picture. I already covered that. The nominees for Best Actor are Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, Leo. You know what? Has Leo ever taken an Oscar? He gets nominated left and right. I think they just want him there, but they never want to give it to him. I kind of feel bad for him. I kind of just want to give him a, hey, I know you didn't win, but you should win. Has he ever won? Jesse, do you know the history of Leo and the Oscars?
No, I do not.
Yeah.
Let's
He always
did
gets
he
like
win.
yeah.
He always gets
Okay. All right. Never mind. He actually did win one for The Revenant, Best Actor, The Revenant in 2016. He won for that Academy Award for Best Actor. All the other ones, let's see, he got nominated for Once Upon a Time. Well, that's the most recent one. The Wolf of Wall Street nominee, Best Actor in Blood Diamond, The Aviator, really good. I like that film. And What's Eating Gilbert Grape, also a nominee, but didn't win any of those. Did win The Revenant. Okay, so look, I don't feel so sorry for him as I did previous before I looked that up. But there you go. So him, and then Adam Driver for Marriage Story, and Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes, and Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. Which, by the way, surprise, surprise, like I said, Joker would win at least an award. Will he win 2 awards? I venture to say I have no idea. I have no idea. We shall see. And as you can see there on that list there, Dolomite, although nominated for a Golden Globe, was not listed on the Oscars. Will that make some people go, wait a minute, what's happening over there? I don't know. Which of these, Jesse, do you think should win?
I really enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix's role as the Joker.
Yeah.
That was
I still have
yeah.
yet to see that, by the way. I'm not going to lie. I almost rented it the other night because Brenda was like asleep, and I know she doesn't really want to see it. So I was like, you know what? I kind of want to see this. But then it was late at night, and I felt like, am I going to be kind of freaked out? Do I want to dream of clowns before I go to sleep? I don't know. Like, do you think it's one that I could watch before I go to sleep and not have like a nightmare, Jesse?
I think you can. But then again, I'm the type of person that watches scary movies before I go to sleep. So, yeah, that doesn't really help you.
No, it doesn't. Okay. And then I'm still looking for because they left they left off on this one. Their actress. Here we go. Actress in a leading role. I had to go to Oscar.com or Oscar.go.com for the information. Here we go. Here's the list. Cynthia Erivo for Harriet. Okay, by the way, that's on my list to see. That looks like a really, really good movie. Harriet, Cynthia Erivo. I think she's gonna take it. I don't even need to like go on with the rest because I know I base things on the trailer. But if you had to put that one, I predicted this, by the way. I like to toot my own horn. Can you tell? Judy won Renee Zellweger for Golden Globe, but I believe I could be wrong. I don't know that Harriet Cynthia Erivo was nominated in the Golden Globe Award. Somebody could fact check me on that. Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson. Little Women, Saoirse Ronan, and Charlize Theron for Bombshell. So Bombshell. Now, again, Golden Globe winner, we all know. Judy took it home. Will Cynthia take it, or will it be like, oh, Charlize all of a sudden? I don't know. Very interesting, though. Did you see, I don't know, Jesse, did you see the story about Charlize talking about like her role with Tom Hanks and how he like kind of gave her a little bit of time to kind of get her lines right? Did you see that?
No, I did not.
It was great. Anybody that didn't see that, by the way, at the Golden Globes really missed out because Charlize was giving like, they were honoring Tom Hanks for his own, the big award that he gets, right? And then, but she was handing it out and she's like, he gave me my very first break in, wait for it, That Thing You Do. Do you remember that? They're like, it was a cool film if you haven't seen it. Great film to watch. She plays the girlfriend of the young drummer, which is like kind of like chewing her gum and kind of like, I don't care to be here. I'm just here because you're cute, but you're not that cute. So I don't kind of want to be here. So she has this whole thing going on. But evidently, she was really nervous for that role, being that it was her first breakout role. And Tom Hanks said, oh, hey, I got to go do something really quick. I'll be right back. He gave her time to be able to kind of get her nerves settled before they went like action, and she did her role, and she thanks him and credits him to being that kind of guy to say, you know what, he didn't call her out on it like, hey, why are you nervous, get it together, woman, there's no crying in the movie, something like that's a terrible impression of Tom Hanks. But anyway, my point is this: great stand-up man, and Charlize Theron again handed it to him. He wanted to thank her, and it was just the great feels. You know people by their stories like that are not, people hold on to, and then they let them out at the right time. I love stories like that, right? All right. Well, speaking of stories, we've got more stories coming up right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Top of the story, ABC News Radio. Check it out every top of the hour right here at KMET 1490 AM. Download our app. It is free. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same channel. Make it a great day, everyone. And remember, life is worth living. Live it well. All right, we're going back to our social media comments. We appreciate you over there. Stephanie Reed says, I think Star Wars should win Best Video, VFX or FX and Sound Editing. Yeah. You know what, Stephanie? I agree with you. I think, did they win one year? I think they did. I can't remember for Sound Editing. But that's like the technical. So the Oscars have a whole technical version that they do, which they kind of keep before the main televised event, which is smart because they hand out a lot of these, and so you got to kind of look and research to see who won. But hands down, Star Wars for FX, I believe, should win. If they lose that category, I'm going to be like, who paid off who to win that award, right? I agree. Everybody agrees. I think. I could be wrong. Although Lion King could take it because, I mean, when you think about it, you made like animals look like they're real and kind of like animated, and that's a whole new technology. But if Irishman takes that away for their face tuning, like young facial thing, which I understand, that's why it costs so much to make, by the way, just to make them look young. I think that was just Scorsese's way of going, look, don't I look good still? And I don't know. Look forward to that technology being dumbed down much easier, and there you go. Yeah. Then there's this. Patricia says, no typecasting there. Patricia Summer says, forget scary here. Disney happy endings all the way. Yes, that's right. If you have not seen Star Wars, go check it out. Seriously, before it leaves the movie theater, because that's one of those movies you got to see on the big screen. Others, not so much, but there you go. It's worth the price of admission. All right, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same channel. Make it a good one, everyone.